All right, welcome back in here to the Right Now studio. And as you'll see, we have a two-box here, me and Jack. But let's go ahead and bring in Karthik Venkataraman here from our sports department. Karthik, good to have you here.
Yeah, man.
It's awesome because this is such a big sports day where we're seeing a couple of different things sort of interconnect here. We're seeing sports, we're seeing fashion, and it's all making news. It's all making headlines. So take us through it here. I know there's been a lot of buzz. There were the leaks. We finally got our City Connect jerseys here, huh?
Yeah, they released them this morning. I saw that I was on the schedule to do a show for a Thursday, and I was like, all right, I know what we're talking right off the top. It's those 6 City Connects that are going to come out. And the Dia de los Muertos jerseys have finally dropped, and they're cool, man. They got that navy blue look. They got the white bone cap, which is probably my favorite part of it. They got the patch on the side that, is representation of tradition, the binational region, just all that stuff. I think it's just a really cool tie for San Diego together. And CEO Eric Grupner said it like this, that, the Padres are such an organization about family, tradition, and things of that nature. And I feel like oftentimes this city digs deep into its roots and its culture and things of that nature too. So I think it's a really cool jersey. I think it's going to look really slick. I like them better than the original City Connects they came out with, the mint green and the pink and all that stuff. I just think it's a cleaner look overall. I just like them, man. I'm excited to see these on the field.
I do like them. I will say there have been some criticisms of them. I do. Now that I'm kind of noting, I know there's always going to be haters. Is it the patch is just sort of there, right? Like the patch with the sugar skull, the Dia de los Muertos, right there. You just saw it right there on your screen. That it's just sort of there, and that maybe some of that, the sugar skull, could have been incorporated maybe a little bit more into the San Diego. But we're all Monday morning quarterbacks. But we're sitting here on a Thursday, and we're talking about one of the cooler City Connect debuts here in Major League Baseball. And then, as you said, going ahead and integrating with a lot of the culture, the history here, and that tie that we have, obviously, with Mexico. When you're in the clubhouse and you're hearing guys talk about jerseys, uniforms, and sort of that debut, did they get a little spark from it? Like you could see kind of some of these guys are obviously really hyped. I mean, this is a hyped video. I imagine some guys are like, hey, yeah, I'll throw on the jersey if it's brown and gold, if it's this, that, the other. But was there sort of a buzz in the locker room in the clubhouse here kind of leading up to today?
Well, I'll let you know because I'm hopping in there today after this jersey
there
drops, and
I'll
I'll get back to you. But I'm sure there's always a hype. Man, when I hop into the studio and I'm wearing my freshest suit, I'm look good, play good,
That's
right?
So
I think there's got to be some excitement. There's always a buzz around the city, and tomorrow on Friday when they finally don this thing and put it on, I think it's going to be really neat, and I think it is going to be a buzz because I think the stadium's going to be sparked up a little bit because it's that extra juice, right? And when the ballpark's sparked up just a little bit, the players get sparked up a little bit, and they're going to be getting questions about it definitely from me today if nobody else. And so yeah, man, I think it always brings a little bit of extra juice. It's a look good, play good kind of thing, and it's going like a lot of people on social media are talking about this thing, talking about how cool it is. So it's
we've been hearing about it for a while. Like we mentioned the links.
Yeah.
Like there has been a buzz about this, not just here in San Diego, but I mean throughout the whole baseball community.
I think they nailed it.
Yeah,
I did.
And then I saw a screenshot of like the other teams that released some of their City Connect jerseys, and obviously when you see all of them at once, it might be like sensory overload. But especially with some of the other teams, like Texas with that really like bright red, like both tops and bottoms, that felt like whoa. As you mentioned, really clean, and I think attention to detail. You see like in the belt as well too.
Yeah,
the sugar skull eyes kind of come back, the floral pattern. It really cool, and I think you bring up a good point, especially because you can compare it to what they were for the last 5 or 6 years here, with the sort of bright neon vibrancy that I think for a lot of people they were like, really like these. I don't really like these. I felt myself like going year to year wondering like, do I really enjoy the City Connect? This one looks like one that, like, no matter what your opinion is, it's probably going to stay consistent because you're not going to feel
look.
Exactly. You're not going to feel that like back and forth on it.
It had I always described it as it's so bad it's good kind of thing.
The old ones, you mean?
My honest opinion.
Yeah.
Like it feels a little Miami Vice-ish.
Yeah.
It's more, I would say like powdered in the color, a little bit of neon, a little bit of like powdery green and all that. And that was fun. But like, a lot of times, like if I'm getting a jersey or if I'm thinking about getting a jersey, the question I ask myself is is this something that I could wear outside of the ballpark or outside of the game? And sometimes that dictates whether I want that jersey or not. This one is like, if I'm going out and I just need to throw on
Navy
a shirt
blue's
or
easy
something
to match,
like that.
man.
Navy blue's easy to match, and it's still stylish. It's not super basic. I do wish, though, my one nitpick is it's the same font as the last one. It feels a little bit like you just switched out the colors. I would want to see a different San Diego font on it. But, I mean, of course, like, if I were charged with designing it, I can't say I would do anything better. So
I think I like the font, so I don't really have an issue with it. I know a lot of people are talking about the font and like, oh, they didn't really change it. It looks the same. But the font looked clean last year, and I'm cool with it this year, so I'm chill.
I kind of compared it to like if you guys have ever played Madden back when they had like build a team and you got to go ahead and design your own jersey. So like from like year to year you would like change the colors.
Most gaudy jerseys,
dude, some of the best. But you would kind of like just forget to change the font and just like, oh, all right, cool, yeah, that's still good, yeah. Because
why
you
is
changed
it
everything
Comic
else.
Sans?
Yeah, it's Comic Sans. Or like what's the SNL bit with Ryan Gosling and the Avatar font that was always pretty funny too.
Papyrus.
Papyrus, yeah, Papyrus.
Yes, Papyrus.
San Diego is plagued by the font talk right now. When really they need to be talking about this baseball team, Karthik. Obviously, a lot of hype. This is a ball club that again has a high expectations, and for good reason. Back-to-back 90-win seasons. The playoffs. I believe it's like however many times they made it in their first 50 years. I think it's like 5 times in the first 50 years or something like that, and they've made the playoffs seemingly a constant presence. So there's this elevated expectations. We're 12 games into the season, and things are sort of feeling malaise, if you will. How would you describe the Padres' performance through the first 12 games or so?
We're 12 games into the season.
I know. And by the way, 150 left to go.
There's plenty of time.
150 left to go. We should point out.
I like perspective, and I look at it like this. Look at last year, right? This team started off 7-0, then 14-3 extended. And what did they do after that?
Right.
Up all the way until the All-Star break, they weren't that good at all. And it was just like you had this great hype to the start of the season, and then they just fell flat. And then after the trade deadline, they picked up again because they got some good pieces. But I'm just like, it doesn't really matter particularly how you start. All it really matters in sports, and I'm just saying this, it matters if you peak at the right time.
Right.
And ultimately, what is this team going to look like at the end of the season? Yes, wins and losses matter now, because wins and losses now count the same as they do at the end of the season. They're not more weighted at the end of the year. So you can't just get hot at the end of the year. You want to pick up these wins. But I do look at the team as a whole, and I think to myself, okay, this team started off 2-4. They did not hit well at all. And now all of a sudden they're starting to hit a little better. Granted, that's mostly from the bottom of the lineup. I think if you look at their 3 stars, Manny Machado's 206, Fernando maybe like right at 200.
He's
Jackson
below,
Mills like right under 200.
Yeah.
So like they're all in like the 200 batting range, which is awful. That's not where you want those 3 guys to be. As you get deeper, you want them in the 280, 290 range, which is hopefully where they'll get to. But what do we know about Manny Machado? Last year, he started off the season terribly too. And then he started picking it up because that's what Manny Machado eventually starts doing. He starts playing better. He's aging, so there's that too. So we'll see if that continues to trend up. I expect Fernando Tatis Jr. will start hitting for power more. He's getting a lot of strikeouts right now. I remember that one game he had the 4 strikeouts, but then hit that huge double that had up, Ramon Laureano was able to get that go-ahead run against Boston. That helped set him up. My point being is pitching, I'm not so worried because they're still going to get guys back like Joe Musgrove and Griffin Canning, which the Padres hopefully will mean that their pitching will even be stronger. They don't have to rely on guys like Walker Buehler and German Marquez in the back end of the rotation. And I don't know if those guys get DFA'd, designated for assignment, or what ends up happening with them. But I do think that the hitting, I'm hesitant to say will be really good because I've seen this team play with this core for a couple of years, and I've seen what their slugging numbers look like. But I think overall it is going to get better, and I think it's impressive for how poorly their starts have hit that they are 6-6. I think that's something to consider too.
I think you bring up a good point, especially when you're talking about peaking at the right time. If someone hits 300 in baseball, let's say they hit, let's just for the sake of math,
these days.
right, which would be amazing. So let's just say 250, right? That doesn't mean that they're going 1 for 4 all 162 games. You bring up a great point. They're hitting 200 now. That could spike up to 320 and then drop down back to 260, 280, whatever. So we're going to see peaks and valleys. But there's one person in particular that I do want to bring up, and you brought him up as well too, and that is Fernando Tatis Jr. because there does seem to be, again, there was all this talk about the excitement is back. He was playing in the World Baseball Classic.
He played well.
Played really well, but he's sort of between the 1, the 2 spot. He keeps kind of moving in and around the lineup. Obviously, we have Craig Stammen, who's new to managing. Is there any concern that Fernando is just sort of not finding a rhythm as he kind of moves in and around the lineup? Or is this just, hey, look, man, it's 12 games. Like, what are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, like last year, if you look at him, he moved around a little bit in the lineup, and because Mike Schilt was trying to figure out what he wanted to do, and Luis Ariz wasn't having as good of a batting year as he was, and Fernando bounced around, and he did figure it out. Last year, he started off the season absolutely incredible, and that's after the postseason prior where he was on an absolute tear. His OPS was like out through the window for the beginning of that playoffs, all until, they collapsed against the Dodgers in that postseason prior. Then picked it up, and in the beginning of that season, looked like an MVP-type player because his batting average was high. He was hitting home runs. His OPS was over 1,000. This year's a little different. He's starting off a little slower, but I think the thing that gets you going about Fernando Tatis Jr. is, and why I believe he'll eventually figure it out, his defense is always there, so that's going to get him energized.
Yep.
He base steals and he runs the bases really well. And I think batting in that second spot, I don't like him in the first spot. I think based off of what I've seen, and granted, I've been in San Diego for a year and a half now, but I've seen 3 seasons worth of baseball to figure that math out. But I do think that he will figure it out if he is down a little further in the lineup. And also, I don't like him at the leadoff spot particularly, because he is a power type hitter. He's one of those guys on the team that can hit home runs and hit extra base hits, and he can be cold. We saw it. I mentioned that Red Sox game earlier. He had 4 strikeouts in the game prior to hitting a huge double that ended up setting the go-ahead run that they were able to get a major win there on the road. This is a guy that can figure it out. I think just as the season goes, it takes some time. I think warmer weather just generally helps you hit the baseball a little better. So those kind of things will kind of progress as things go on. I think Fernando Tatis Jr. will pick it up. He's just too good of a baseball player not to.
Of course, you mentioned it's early, and of course that's understandable, but you also mentioned the rotations and the changes in the lineups that you see Schilt do last year. 12 games into the season, what are your initial impressions? Not necessarily a review because it's still early, but of Stammen and the job he's done as manager.
Yeah, I think sometimes I question what he's doing as far as mostly as it comes to the pitching and when he takes guys out and who he puts in and things of that nature. Pitch count has kind of taken into effect some of the times that I think maybe he could have brought in Adrian Morejon instead of putting in Walty Peralta or something like that. But it's his first year, right? Like he was in the front office prior to this. He wasn't even, really guy in the bench, like coaching and things of that nature. He's a guy that is now transitioning into his first year as a manager. And I think he'll figure it out. I think one of the most impressive things, and a lot of people gave him criticism about this, and I didn't understand it at all. He said he was really tired, and so he kind of gave the batting order off to his assistant coaches to have them figure it out. And they came up with one. And ever since that's happened, the offense has been better. But what I think is very honorable and is what a good leader should always do is say, hey, I'm delegating responsibility to people I trust within my organization. And I think that says a lot about him. He could have had an ego and been like, this is my problem to fix. I'm the first year manager. I got to be the guy. But instead, he's smart enough to be like, okay, I can trust the people that are very experienced around me. I'm kind of new to this. Let me flip it to somebody else. And it's worked out. Now they've gone with a team that was a losing record to a team that has an average record and an opportunity with a nice big homestand here to go above 500 and start making some momentum for themselves. So I like him in a lot of regards. I think he's just young to the job. But anyone who just starts a new job and is doing it for the first time is going to have struggles. So I don't really understand the criticism.
That's such an excellent point. I think about it in a football sense where it is, you do not need to be calling any plays to be an incredibly effective head coach. First and foremost, if you ask anyone about what's the job of being a head coach of an NFL team, is you are the CEO. That is not a day-to-day operations job. That is a big picture job. And I think sometimes we do unfairly assume that a manager, a coach, they're the ones that are responsible for everything that goes on around. In a way, you are because you're the face of the league, but that doesn't mean that you need to have a hand or the hand in certain decisions that are being made. So that is a sense of not necessarily humility, but that's a sense of strength in knowing maybe I am not helping this team reach its potential if I am this involved in an aspect of the team. So, we have seen it was a rough few first games. It was a rough 2 series. Of course, the Tigers, I think we knew that was going to be a grudge match, but I think a lot of people were disappointed about that Giants series, especially after the performance they had against the Yankees. But, I must say, I've been a little more impressed as time has gone on. Maybe that's just the Red Sox being surprisingly bad this year, because I did not expect
I'll probably
that.
pick it up.
But,
again, there we go. Yeah, probably will pick it up. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So
I think it sucks too, because those 2 series were at home, and then they were losing at home to start off the year, so it became that much more magnified.
And I think with that West Coast, East Coast swing, that really does affect the mindset of fans here, because when they go out east to Pittsburgh and they pick up 2 there or whatever it is, there's sort of this oh, I didn't really see it happen. It was on while I was at work, and that type of thing. But when it's at home and it's right there in front of you, especially when you have the home support that the Padres do, when you lose those home games, it can make it feel a little worse than it is. I think it has that effect. All right.